I hope somebody gets in here and checks my audio. I will delay until I get somebody here. So we'll give it a minute. We'll do some preamble. Fallout Friday. What is the fallout? The fallout, obviously, what's the fallout from Tuesday, right? Nobody knows. We'll find out. Make sure I can get my chat bar up there. And we're just out watching the Canadian geese trying to fly south. They're behind the power curve, I think. I think most everybody went through already. Those two guys are lost. But I hope everybody survived the festivities on Tuesday. We've had about 48 hours to recoup, reevaluate, redetermine what next actions are, right? Everybody hear me? I guess everybody is checking in. But what is the fallout, right? What happened, went down, and what's really happening, right? So good to see everybody. I'll get into my main topic, then I'll go into the chat. So sorry if I don't respond here. This is the way we're going to roll here. But yeah, so what's going down? And you got to ask yourself, what's really changed? Is anything really going to change? That plane is louder than you might think. Goodness. And in my evaluation, and if you've seen the thumbnail, and I said it last week too, when the jobs report came out Friday, it's the economy, stupid. The economy, economics, the money system is the biggest issue. Granted, there's all those things that we all care about that are potentially going to change, but is that going to change the big picture of ultimate central banker control and delivering us to a one world monetary system? That's what I want to know. And based upon the statements made pre-Tuesday and since, nobody's going to address the economic situation. More debt is coming, one way or the other, of some form. You might get a little personal relief here and there, depending on what happens, but don't count on anything significant. And this, I guess I should, how would I say this? This is not a black pill. This is just a reality check on what you really need to be prepping and doing or not, right? Because I've said for a long time, my primary concern, big event, the biggest event I'm worried about is economic calamity, like depression style, right? Or if not that, central bank digital currency or one world currency, which CBDC seems to be the implementation of that. So with that being my primary thing, I have to reevaluate and determine if this changes anything. Does this really make a difference with what happened there? There's a, I don't know if it's an owl box or a bat box. Some animals, they want somebody to live in there. But if I take a look, and shout out to JD Vance. Marine Corps birthday's coming up. You got a Marine going in the White House. It's kind of significant, but is it ultimately going to matter? But he did a tweet today about evaluating your mindset, and basically if the questions you've tried to answer have led you to this conclusion and your conclusion is wrong, you need to re-ask the question. And he quoted somebody, and it kind of goes into that thought process of you have to reevaluate your thesis, right? So I talked about that a couple months ago. You have to reevaluate your thesis on what you ultimately believe or what you're prepping for. Because if you were just prepping for, you know, the communists taking over and they're gone, right? Are they gone? Probably not. And I'll say this too. So you got two ways to think about this, right? You got a couple or three different ways you can evaluate what's going to go down. So you can have three different courses of action, right? It's always good to have options. Take your three courses of action. Trump is absolutely the man pushing back against the machine, and he is going to right the ship and bring in good people and get things in the right direction and fight against the central government, right? And free up some freedom. Okay, you can go with that assumption. If it's as bad as we think it is, or a lot of us think it is, and Trump is that guy that just happened to get through the flack, it's going to be a very painful 4 years, because the fight against him is going to be deep and strong, and he might not even make it, right? Which would put a junior senator into the presidency with very little experience, and who's he going to bring in to advise him? So you're going to have a lot of chaos and a lot more discontent, and probably a lot more chaos at the state and local level. And I say that too because the bureaucracy is deep. The bureaucracy, from your federal government representatives to your state agencies, and every single boomer, blue-haired old lady to the young kindergarten ring-nosed teacher that have been pushing half this stuff, are going to be pushing back and influencing everything that goes on, because the bureaucracy is deep at every level. So if you got that assumption, this Trump is the good guy, right? You better prep. You better prep hard. You better look at all options. If you look at it as he's part of it, he's in on it, what could possibly happen? One world digital currency, because he's already been labeled the crypto president, or whatever you want to call it. He's been, he's going to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. That's one world digital currency in its beginnings, right? That's what he wants to bring in. That's what he's supporting. That's like not even a hard argument to make. It's interesting. The question was asked of Powell, who lowered interest rates yesterday, if you didn't know. So the central bank is continuing its thing that it's doing, which it has to do, because it's either going to hyperinflate or it's going to crash everything. And so far, their decision has continued to be hyperinflate, and somehow yet squeeze out bond rates. I don't know how that's working, but it's working. That's an economic mystery to me. Hopefully somebody can explain it. But with Powell making his statement of lowering interest rates, they also asked the question if he would step down if Trump asked him to, and he said he wasn't controlled by the president. He wasn't stepping down. So then a lot of people ask the question, if he's not controlled by that, then who does he ultimately answer to? I think we all know the question: bankers rule the world. If you don't believe that, that's fine, but that's the second option, right? Everybody's in on it, and it's just a slow process to get the economics in line so they can put everybody under the grips of a digital currency for that one world effect at some point in the future. How does that affect your preparedness if that is the second option? There's probably a third option of what could possibly portend from this election, but that's the only two I've gotten through so far. Is the guy is either he got elected and he's in on it, or he's got elected and he's totally against the man and he's totally against the system, and he's going to really fight, and it's going to be a lot of pain because the system is going to fight back. So I'm not sure what the third one is, but there's probably one I could think of if I had a little more time, and maybe we'll discuss that in future live streams. But let's get some beautiful video. Quit looking at me now that I've kind of went through my thesis here, and I'll check the chat. Let me see if I can turn this around. We're down by the river today. We haven't been down here in a long time. I think I mentioned that in a previous chat. We're just down here kicking it lunchtime by the river. So everybody's made some thoughts about really how it affects your preparedness, and that you're not stopping, because either way it goes, it could get really ugly. We kind of seem to be in the interim period where everybody's, if you're watching social media, half the people are in shock that it actually went down like this. Half the people are celebrating because it went so smooth and just overwhelming, what they call the red wave, right? So there's a lot of celebrating and there's a lot of angst and gnashing of teeth, right? So everybody's kind of in shock and just kind of riding it out. So we've had 72 hours to evaluate that, which has been good, you know. Unless you were in like a 2-block area in Seattle or Chicago or New York, you wouldn't even know much has changed, right? It's been pretty peaceful, except for just a few small minor things, like I said, or unless you're next to a Trump Tower somewhere. I think there was a Trump Tower in Philadelphia that had a protest, but it's been really mild compared to what everybody was worried about. But there were months to go. We have what, 73 days? 73 days till this all gets done and in place. So that's 73. You got 73 days of reprieve to really hunker down and figure out what you need to focus on, how you need to change your preps if you need to, or if you don't, rededicate some money some other way. Your efforts, your time, your efforts, whatever it might be. Because if you think this is just going to go swimmingly, I don't know what to tell you. I just don't see it that way. No matter how you think about the head man, right? No matter how you've envisioned Donald J. Trump to be as a man or a person or whatever, it's not going to go good for you either way. It's about the only thing I can say. The hope is that there is some opposition and that the central government isn't just one big monolith that's just going to continue doing what it's doing, but I don't have a lot of evidence to the contrary right now. So I'm going to continue with the concern of economic distress and central currency, however they bring it about. So let me get back into the chat. Welcome, Pika. What's up? Guns coast to coast. Oh no, the Midwest prepper has showed up. And I had some thoughts about changing the pyramid just slightly to talk about like evaluating different scenarios, and I haven't had time to put it down on the board. But I was going to modify the pyramid to kind of go through what if your scenarios are different and where they line up on your pyramid, right? Like we're talking about here, is Trump, over here as the good guy, really fighting the man, or is he over here just part of the system and just doing his part, right? It's really hard you got to go through that and evaluate it. But I'll get some time to do that maybe. Pika asking about voting. Hey, we voted. I mean, you just do your part. You can't rely on it. You can't trust one man at all, for sure. Trevor's, what's going on? Welcome. Yee. James, what's up, James? Haley says, Trump is back in. We can only hope, right? You can only hope and pray. I would recommend a lot more prayer than hoping. But we'll see. Like I said, hope for the best, pray for the worst. Or wait, pray for the best, prepare for the worst. Sorry about that. That's a slight faux pas there. Definitely pray for the best, prepare for the worst. Might be the better way to say it. Right, first Marine to be in the White House, pretty impressive. Going to be interesting. Trevor's a Ukrainian bot or a Russian bot. And we got Saints and Sappers, one each checking in. Awesome. What's up, Saints? Getting his preps in. I know he's continuously improving his position. And Steve at Corsair Trainers is lurking as a good rower always does. Pika asking all kinds of questions. I already talked about Trump. You have a couple of different options. If you're not there, you're not in person, you can't really say for sure, but you have your assumptions. It's not so much that all crypto is evil, but it can all be easily manipulated. It's has a lot of third-party exposure, and ultimately, if you get a central bank digital currency, they can. I'm not saying they will. They can either outlaw the other stuff or shut it down because it does go through an interweb system. And if crypto doesn't go through the interweb system and you do a hand-to-hand exchange, right? Like you hand off your safe cracking code or whatever you call those things that you lock vault your crypto numbers in. It's the same as gold and silver. It's in-person transaction. I've said it for a long time. The only advantage crypto has is you can transmit it around the world quickly and do exchange that way. It has that economic advantage. The disadvantage is its third-party exposure. I wouldn't say crypto is evil, but central bank digital currency, a one world government, most certainly is, because of the control it will give the system over everybody and everything. They can shut off your house, electricity, the ultimate, it's the ultimate power control if they can control that. And you look at how not only Bitcoin, I guess you'd say, or any digitalized token, they're trying to get it tied to all kinds of security apparatuses and exchanges of all types. And there's all these different versions, and you talk about what they're doing. They're talking about being able to verify and certify in this quick time frame and this and that. It's all ultimately means of control. It's almost too good to be true. West Texas stacker in the house, and it's all an illusion. What is up? How you guys doing? West Texas. I don't catch you guys as much as I should, but appreciate you dropping in. Another stacking channel out there. And we can get into the gold and silver while I'm on the topic. I think I saw Nickel drop in too. He's probably in the chat there somewhere. But if you looked at what happened to commodity prices overall, not just gold and silver, but all the metals and oil and everything, but particularly gold and silver, took a hard plunge Tuesday night. Like all the Eastern markets, Asian markets, like hit it hard, dropped it pretty hard like a rock, and it bounced back a little bit yesterday, and then it's back down again today. Like that is traditionally what people would call a sign of economic confidence that things are going to get better, right? That things are good, that you don't need these safety nets of, hard assets, stuff like that. Guns asked me last week what I thought was going to happen to gold if Trump got in. I'm like, it's going to go down initially, regardless. Just because it's going to have that relief factor. Like everybody's like, things are better. But if you don't solve the debt, if you don't push, the debt sanity or any, fiscal sanity into the government, like gold's just going to go higher in the future. I think 3,000 within the next year in 2025 is still on the table. And I think that 5,000 in the decade is still on the table because there's no sanity to it. It's exponential. The debt is exponential at this point. It's in the stratosphere level. And the way the Federal Reserve is treating it, it's that way. So that's my response to, a little more detailed response to guns than what he asked me the other day. But I don't see any reason for it not to. Just like every other asset, just like the markets are all going to go up. All your stocks are going to, they're all going to be up and down, but they're going to be mostly up because of this. So it's kind of an illusion of prosperity on some end, but in reality, it's just inflation. It's inflation getting caught up in the markets. So that's a long answer to a lot of questions, I guess. What's up, Scotch? The Scotchman's is in here. How you doing? Have you got your back worked out? And there's the whole Supreme Court issue. Like everybody can hope that continues to go in a good direction, right? The ultimate question is, can we continue to send things back to the states where they belong? We'll see. Hope you're doing good, Scotsman. I'm glad to see you. Hope your back is getting back right and healed. I don't know if you've done a video in a while. I still haven't seen one since before we went to North Carolina. So I'm going to have to start unsubbing some channels because everything gets caught up in the wash of, you guys that put stuff out like once a week or less that I really want to see. I probably should redo my subscription account. Adventurous Guy to the Galaxy's in the house. He did a good video election night and the next day, talking to some of these issues and his perspective of, not relying on voting. Not trusting the system. Alicia, what's up, Alicia? And Liberty Garden is in. Happy Friday, yeah. Fallout Friday, come on, batten down the hatches. Get with the mood, get with the title. Hope you're doing good, Liberty, doing those deadlifts. Making my back hurt watching you do those deadlifts. But yeah, so I would just say continue to prepare for fallout. We'll see how it goes. Again, if you all believe Trump is the guy that you hoped he was, you can expect the reaction from the system and his people to be severe and strong and lash out against pretty much everybody. Because that's what they say they're going to do on social media. the number of death threats against pretty much anybody on social media is pretty severe. So some of you need to prepare more than others, I guess, but it just goes in line with, you know, all the things. Be ready for a little bit of everything. It could be infrastructure, it could be an individual directed attack, you know. You just don't know. It could just be some random drive-by, it could random hit and run. You just don't know. Like, invest in steel bumpers is my advice when I see some of this stuff on Twitter. It's like, yeah, invest in steel bumpers, all gas, no brakes. Don't let anybody stop you. Some of the view, more view here on the river. I guess I'm caught up. Hopefully I'm still transmitting. All right, these were still good. Yeah, Pika, I don't vote for communists, so I definitely didn't vote for Kamala. Let's put it that way. But again, you got to really test yourself on, is it all just an illusion of opposing sides? So you can vote, but you got to really challenge your intellectual honesty on how much it matters. And Adventures to the Galaxy talks about in some of his stuff, but you know, still see it as an integral part of the Republic. But there's so many shenanigans that can go on, and there's so many things being digitized, you just can't really know that you know. I remember growing up as a kid, I could go into the courthouse and actually watch the vote occur as they counted the votes, because parents were involved in the system, you know, as part of the process on election nights, doing validation and check-in and stuff, and you could just watch it happen right there in front of you. And they write it on the board and everything, and then they call it in, gets called into the state and whatever, and it's done. Nowadays, it's not like that. Everything's wants to be quiet, under wraps, and very hard to observe. So that's part of my concern, is the system has changed so much in the way things happen that it's hard to validate the digital stuff that goes on. Just like the crypto stuff. It's hard to really validate the freedom of it and who really has control of it. You know, there's the whole, I don't know how much of a conspiracy theory it is, but the CIA owns the patent for blockchain. Like, there's that whole thing. Like, I don't know if that's true. Like, I mean, it's one of those things, like, it only makes sense the way it kind of got rolled out. It's all anonymous, and it's all, like, you don't even know who did it. There's just this random mysterious guy. Who is Satoshi? Like, kind of weird. But, and if you can't hold it, you don't own it. I mean, if you hold it, they can come and take it from you, but at least you have a fighting chance, hopefully. So ultimately, I just continue and urge everybody to continue your preparedness journey of whatever level it is. Prepare for that blackout or hurricane or whatever flooding might occur in your area, plus whatever bigger symptom you might be worried about, from the economic depression level to Chinese falling from the sky. Be ready for all of it, because they're all still on the table. They're all still options. And I must be rotorboating, because I don't see any comments, new or otherwise. So I'm probably talking to myself, even though a timer's still ticking down. But so with that, I guess we'll check out YouTube for your Fallout Friday. We'll see how this records or uploads on the live to the live. But hope everybody feels a little bit of relief, a little bit of respite. I think that's well earned and well deserved. But don't place your hopes in the hands of men, would be my other thought. There's always the reliance on the Almighty for all things. Let's keep it that way. So, and I still see no comments. Man, that sucks. I thought I was going on a pretty good rant. So, back to the river, one more shot. We actually have water here sometimes in the desert. We've had some good rain over October. We'll see how much we get here before the real ski season kicks off. But with that, YouTube, I guess we're going to check out. No more comments. And just have a good weekend. Enjoy your Veterans Day. Enjoy your veteran that you may know or not. And watch out for those Marines on Sunday. They can get a little out of hand on this weekend, so that could be going on in your area depending on where you are. And everybody's a little more amped up with one in the White House, like we talked about. So y'all be good, YouTube. Have a great day. Prep hard. Live free.